I realized, like, while I was sitting here, I was like, okay, my Minecraft skin's gonna make this a little awkward. I kind of wish that I had a face cam because it's like, hey, this is a serious stream. Here's my dumb Minecraft skin. Anyway, this is gonna be a serious stream. But I do like keeping things a little bit lighthearted because I don't like making people too anxious or anything. So usually I've done like Detective Dream or things like that. But I thought that probably wasn't appropriate this time, and it's just better to just be Minecraft. I do have like a paint.net thing open that has some screenshots, but other than that, I'll just be in Minecraft. Anyway, hello. So obviously a lot has happened over the last like week, I'd say, in terms of the, I guess, controversy world, with me and other creators and just everything in general, I guess. And I thought it'd be good to do a stream and to talk about it because I thought, if I'm just tweeting, I can't, it's not long form enough for me to express my feelings, my opinions, and just talk things through. And I thought if I did it like in a podcast, it'd probably be inauthentic. And if I did it elsewhere, I just thought it'd be dumb. But I thought, hey, stream's probably perfect. I've done it a couple times, very rarely because I like keeping things lighthearted on my channels. But hey, sometimes it's the best thing to do. Let me switch to paint. We'll talk about how it started, and then after we talk about how it started, then we can get more into the rest of it. And there's a lot we're going to be going over, so just sit tight, and if there's something you're waiting for, just wait. Here we go. Okay, so how this all started was Hassan made a tweet, said, come on, at YouTube, this is a wild one to demonetize. It was titled, Dear Conservatives, Gay People Exist. I saw it, I thought, okay, that's kind of like a ridiculous thing to be demonetized. So I replied and said, I mean, it is controversial. Do they really exist? I heard gay people was a myth made up by the gay frogs in my water. Solid move by YouTube, in my opinion. This is sarcasm. I'm sure most people have recognized that, but this is sarcastic. I'm not being serious in saying that gay people don't exist and that frogs in my water have created gay people. Obviously, I'm not being serious, and I don't think people, this tweet didn't really get much flack. I mean, it did. There were some people, I mean, I'm sure it did. There were some people saying like, oh, you know, you can't make these jokes, whatever. But I don't think this tweet really got much flack. It was my reply to Ant Frost. Anyway, so Ant Frost replied and said, gay people don't exist, I heard. For those of you who don't know, Ant Frost is gay. And obviously Ant Frost, he's been in my manhunt videos. He's one of my best friends. Known him for a long time. And then I replied, they exist in your disgusting fantasies, you freak. Now this is where people did not like it. I do think that people who don't know me or know Ant Frost or know our relationship or know anything about me in general could see this, me calling him a freak for being gay, even if it's in a sarcastic way, and take it the wrong way and take it as, oh, he's making fun of gay people or the, the struggles they go through. So I see that, and I after seeing people complain about that, initially I was like, yeah, I mean, I probably could have just removed this part and just had to be they exist in your disgusting fantasies, and I think that would have been different. Do I think it's the biggest deal? No, but I can understand why people might. I could see people being upset by it and being like, oh, this isn't something that you have a right to joke about. I get that. I mean, it's not, it's up to, I feel like it's very opinionated whether or not you think that people, like, because this is, I'm making fun of people that are homophobic, essentially. Obviously, I'm not making fun of gay people. When I say they exist in your disgusting fantasies, you freak, I'm playing a homophobic person saying something ludicrous that obviously people wouldn't say. And so anyway, the joke is not on gay people. The joke is on homophobic people that are horrible people and don't deserve any kind of positive attention, I guess. Anyway, people didn't like that. That got me into, obviously you can see based on the quote retweets, that got me into a lot of flack. There was a lot of people that were replying and calling me homophobic and were saying, how does my audience let me get away with being homophobic, and so on and so forth. And obviously, I mean, I'm sure most of you know, but I will reiterate, I am not homophobic. I support gay people. I support everybody from the LGBTQ plus community. I try and express that as much as I can, and I would never intentionally harm anybody from the LGBTQ community. So I don't mean any harm if whenever I make jokes with my friends. Obviously, this is a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, who again is gay, and people were, when I said that on another tweet, people were saying, "Oh, you're just using like I have one gay friend." It's like, no, I'm saying that I'm joking with this. I'm joking with Ant Frost. I'm not joking with whoever is reading the tweet. I'm joking. I'm replying to Ant Frost, joking with him. Obviously, Ant Frost didn't have a problem with it, but anyway, so I made a tweet because everyone was saying it. I said, Dream is community homophobic, and I said, our community is basically a 24/7 online pride parade. You're welcome to join at any point if you'd like. Anyone is welcome. That was my way, kind of sarcastically being like, guys, come on, are you really trying to paint me as homophobic? Like I feel like I've been very outwardly accepting of everybody. So that was kind of my way of joking about it. Ant replied, said, "LOL, anyone saying this just seeking attention by hopping on the hate train, blah blah." Ant's very sweet. Obviously, I love Ant. Amazing guy. Anyway, so this got me to the big controversy the day before, and this wasn't before it actually like oh yeah, and these screenshots kind of look funny because of Nightmare, but I was Dream at the time. Nightmare is just that's what my profile is now, and I took these screenshots today, so it is Nightmare, but that's not what it was. But it does make these screenshots look kind of dumb. Anyway, but so that was the big controversy starter that got a lot of people that don't like me, or even I'm sure there are some people that like me that were like, oh, I mean, maybe. But I think that mostly, obviously, this is the thing, is that if you don't like, and this isn't me saying, oh, it's invalid because you don't like me. People, every time I've ever said something like that, people take it as that, when really I'm just saying that you're more likely to give somebody the benefit of the doubt if you like them. If you don't like them, you're gonna give them the opposite. If you're neutral, you're gonna be in the middle. But if you like somebody, you're gonna give them more benefit of the doubt than they deserve. And if you don't like somebody, you're gonna give them less benefit of the doubt than they deserve. And that's just kind of how the world works. So obviously, I'm not saying, oh, people that don't like me, it's the only reason they thought that. It's just, no, they're more likely to think that because they're gonna see this and assume I'm being homophobic rather than see this and assume that I'm making fun of homophobic people. If that makes sense. Anyway, but then it obviously sparked up the next day by a lot. So I tweeted out, I'm not gay. I think women are very attractive. Some men are okay too, I guess. Now for me, I thought this is something that I was debating on whether or not I should tweet, I guess. I feel like I've never outwardly talked about my sexuality or much in like on one of my public platforms. Like I've talked about it on Reddit before. I've briefly, like in a podcast, said stuff. But I've never tweeted anything on any of my major platforms about anything involving my sexuality other than just saying I'm not gay, which is what I've said always, because I'm not gay. But people also take that to mean that I'm straight. And I don't know. That's the thing, is I feel like everyone kind of, I mean, I guess not everybody. I feel awkward talking about stuff involving sexuality. But I feel like sexuality is a spectrum. So obviously there's straight, there's gay, there's everything in between. And there's much more. And I'm somewhere, and I feel like I don't necessarily owe anybody an explanation of where. But I felt like this was a tweet that kind of expressed my feelings at the time in a sort of joking way, because if you're saying things seriously, it becomes more whatever. Anyway, I don't need to go too much into it, but that's what I thought by making this tweet. And then anyway, I forgot about this tweet. So this was a reply as well. I just wanted to explain this, because then whenever somebody replied to my tweet saying that when I said Dream's community, I said our community is basically 24/7 online pride parade, and they replied and said, and you're our leader. And I said, definitely not. And people took that as saying, I'm definitely not in the LGBTQ community, and I don't want to be the leader and whatever. And that's not the case. I was just expressing that I feel like nobody is going to be a leader of a community. I feel like even unless that community is directly involved in them, like I'd say, sure, could I be like the leader of the Dream community? I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know. I feel like there's not really a leader to any community. And I think that it's unacceptable to let people assume or call you, even, and this is obviously a you know, a joke. They're not being serious. Or even if they are, that's fine. But I was just trying to express, hey, you know, I don't like people saying, hey, you know, he's the leader of this pride parade or the LGBT community, because I feel like that's not right. And I think that for anybody to be a leader of the LGBTQ community or a leader of any community, the leader, like I say this, I feel the same way as people say it's like the leader of the Minecraft community. I feel the exact same way. It's like, no, I'm not the leader of the Minecraft community. Please don't. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of, you know, that's a lot of meaning behind that I don't feel comfortable taking on. And so that was anyway. That's what I was expressing there. But anyway, so then this is when the controversy amped up. I replied to somebody who quote retweeted my tweet, saying that I was just saying it to avoid being called homophobic. Obviously, seeing that upset me because I was like, okay, this is my first tweet ever on any major account of mine involving sexuality in any way whatsoever. And I'm getting people quote retweeting me saying that I'm just doing it to avoid being called homophobic, when that was the day before, and obviously it was on my mind, and that was what, you know, I decided to tweet it because of. But people were, you know, quote retweeting and saying that I'm avoiding, you know, homophobic allegations by like you know, queer baiting essentially. And so I replied. And they ended up deleting their tweet. But I replied and said, only Twitter can confuse mocking homophobia and clear support of gay people in the replies of one of the person's best friends who is gay as homophobia. Only Twitter. And this made a lot of people upset because this person, I mean, I don't know what ended up happening to this person. I don't know if they ended up tweeting or something. But people were saying this person got doxxed and that this person got, you know, threatened and all this stuff in regards to their tweet. And obviously, I've said this time and time again, and I'll say it again because I feel like it's important to reiterate, but I don't support any form of doxing. I know this isn't just for people that are going to be like, oh, you can't just say this and then it absolves you of all guilt. That's not what I'm saying. Hear me out, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't support any form of doxing. I don't support any form of threatening or harassment or anything like that. I never, no matter what. It doesn't matter. I feel like I have a very strict and solid line, and it's anything. It doesn't matter. I feel like no one deserves that. Even if they've done heinous things, I feel like they don't deserve to be doxxed. They don't deserve to be, you know, death threatened, things like that. Now they may deserve, people that have done horrible things may deserve bad things to come to them. But bad things within like the law and bad things within society and whatever, versus not, you know, doxing and things that are it's just pointless. It's pointless no matter what. And so I don't condone that. I don't support that. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you participate in doxing of people, if you participate in harassing and threatening people, you are not welcome in my community. You are not a part of my community, and I do not like you. There, I've said it. I've said it before. There's a clip on my Twitter, my most recent retweet of a clip of me saying this exact same thing like a year ago. But I'll say it again because I feel like I can't say it too many times, so I'll just say it again. Anyway, but people obviously got pissed at this and were saying, you know, you can't reply to people. You got to be responsible with your audience, and you got to be careful and not reply to people on Twitter. And then I ended up making a dumb tweet on my private account, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I just wanted to talk about you know, more about that specifically. Obviously, ever since then, I feel like the message kind of has been diluted, and there's a lot of people who have been upset about the fact that, oh, Dream is defending himself from replying to people, and he's sending harassing, and he wants people to harass people. It's like, no, I feel like people don't realize, like, this is the tweet that people are mad about. This is like, and people that small creators and other creators that have said things, I don't even think they know this. I think they probably are a little bit out of the loop, and that this is what I replied. I didn't reply and say, you fucking bastard, blah, 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 blah. I mean, my reply wasn't even that bad. I was just defending myself and replying to somebody. I wasn't like hateful in my reply. I didn't say anything threatening. I didn't say anything at all. And it was somebody calling me homophobic on a tweet about my sexuality. And I feel like in my mind, their tweet, and this is, maybe people can disagree, but their tweet, I mean, I don't even know, I don't know how to describe it, because it's obviously not homophobia, but it's some form of like, I mean, they're assuming that I'm using my sexuality for my benefit to avoid criticism, which I thought was very belittling. I thought it was very upsetting, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna reply, I'm gonna express my thoughts on this, obviously because there was people saying that. But anyway, this is the tweet. So for people that are out of the loop, this is the tweet people were upset about. This is what caused it all. This person deactivated their Twitter, and I think people were saying they were getting doxxed and they were getting threatened and whatever. So this is the tweet. I can understand being upset at me if I would have replied and said, you know, F you, you piece of shit, you know, you deserve whatever. I don't know. If I had replied, I mean, even if it was just even a little bit hateful or spiteful or inciting of like violence or something, I would understand. It makes sense. It makes complete sense that you could be upset at somebody with a massive platform inciting hate towards somebody, you know, on Twitter. But this is just a normal like Twitter reply. Like you see people do this all the time, and people saying that other creators don't do this are just wrong. Go to other creators' replies and see this. Now, in terms of like the actual, like later on when I was arguing on my Twitter, yeah, other creators don't do that because I'm very different. I tweet a lot, and I tweet a lot, and I defend myself, and I argue. But this tweet, this is what started it all. And this is just Twitter. This is a normal tweet from Twitter, and I don't feel bad about it. I don't have any apologies about it. I feel like this is a very valid tweet, and I feel like I would do this again, and I will do it again. And if you don't support me doing things like this, replying to people on my platform, saying things remotely like this every now and then don't support me. That's fine. I'm fine with that, because that's who I am. That's how I'm going to be. And I don't feel like this is me inciting anything or doing anything wrong. I'm defending myself. I'm defending my ability to express my sexuality without having people use it against me and belittle me. And I feel like that's something that I'm fine with. I'm perfectly fine with that. So if you're not, that's fine. I don't owe anyone any apologies about this, and I'm not going to. Anyway, that's about this tweet. Now, my tweet that I made on my alt account, I definitely worded it poorly, and I apologize for that. My tweet essentially on my alt account, my tweet essentially on my alt account was saying, it's so satisfying seeing people that I reply to that are saying dumb stuff deactivate, because it's just them. It's like them being like, you know, hey, I'm being dumb, whatever. And obviously that's not always why. People rightfully were saying, well, that's not always why they deactivate. They deactivate because they're getting threatened, and they deactivate because they're getting doxxed and whatever. And that's true. And that's something that I probably shouldn't have said. I wasn't thinking about it from that aspect. I was thinking about it more from the aspect of they don't stand by their words. They say something, and then they reply to me, and then they get a reply from the person, and then they don't stand by what they said. And I wasn't thinking about it from the other perspective of, oh, they're deactivating because of the fact that they're afraid of harassment, whatever. That doesn't change the fact that I would reply to them, but it does change the fact that it's different. What, feeling satisfaction about it is wrong in that instance, because it's not something to be satisfied about if that is the reason that they're doing it. So I do apologize about that. I shouldn't have made that tweet, or I should have looked at the other perspective before making that tweet, and I would have definitely said things differently. I guess again, to further talk about the whole doxing aspect, I guess I want to express as well, because I feel like this is important to talk about. And this isn't going to be me at all. Like, don't take this as me minimizing things, but I'm just going to express it because a lot of people are saying, oh, somebody with 7 followers that gets a reply and then is getting doxxed and like fearing for their life and all that stuff. I'm just going to express that if you are a person on Twitter and you have 7 followers and you get doxxed on Twitter, the odds of you having something happen to you in your life are so astronomically small that it's not even worth worrying about. It's not even worth it remotely. I mean, everybody that I know that is a creator has had their address leaked, has had their name leaked, has had everything leaked about them. And it's very rare to have things actually happen. Even people with millions and millions of haters and millions of fans and millions of things. So I guess this is more of a, hey, you know, don't worry too much, don't stress. But you know, just if you're at the end of the day, if you're on the internet and you have something like that happen to you, try and ignore it the best you can. Try and you know, avoid it, and you'll be fine. At the end of the day, you'll be okay. Again, that doesn't mean doxing okay. Doxing is horrible, and everyone that I know hates doxing, and like I said, has been doxed individually themselves. That's more of a reassurance thing, and that's for my fans and for people that have been doxed, is that, hey, you're gonna be okay. There's nothing's probably gonna happen to you, and you'll be fine. You'll be okay. So I mean, for YouTubers and stuff, it is slightly different, because obviously there actually are millions of people that hate you and would potentially, you know, go after you or whatever. But for the average person that's just a Twitter user with 5 followers, and people are saying, there's some people that are saying that's a bad take. It's not a bad take. It's a realistic take. That is how it is. That is 100% how it is online. As someone who's been on the internet for entire life. But anyway, second, pulling up. I had a little note list of the things I wanted to talk about. But yeah, anyway, so that's kind of how this all sparked. Obviously, was for me. Originally, I made this tweet. To briefly go over it again. Originally, I made this tweet. People took this as homophobic, and then I defended myself and was saying not homophobic. And then the next day, I ended up making a tweet regarding my sexuality on my main, and people were saying I was using it as deflecting and to, you know, get rid of people calling me you know, homophobic and all. And so then I replied to one of them saying that, yeah, only Twitter can confuse mocking homophobia and clear Twitter gay people. And then there was a lot of people upset about this, saying that I was weaponizing my audience and that I was using my audience to attack and you know, dox people. Anyway, that's kind of where we stand. Anyway, from then on out, the next thing that happened after that, essentially, was that, which is what happens in every single, well, if you get into a controversy as a creator, usually what happens is there's some clips, or there's something regarding you that has been found in the past that is sitting around that ends up getting brought up. And I've seen people a lot of times use that to invalidate things that get brought up. Like even in tons of past controversies where they go, oh, you know, the only reason this thing is being brought up is because of the fact that people are hating on them right now, or they're mad at them for this or whatever. Which is true, but it doesn't invalidate the fact that it happened. So in this instance, what I'm talking about is, and I'll talk about my private tweet about it as well.